Chapter 14. I'm still in such high spirits after school that I ask Lippy and Rue if they fancy taking Cadno for a walk. Is that even a question? Lippy exclaims, her eyes nearly popping out of her head with excitement. I keep forgetting that he's still new to them. To me, he's become part of the family, a playful little fox cub who just so happens to be hiding a fiery party trick. So what happens to his flames if it rains? Asked Rue, as we make our way towards the woods that border the park, after calling our parents to let them know we'll be late. Cadno is trotting happily ahead, chasing after dandelion spores as they're carried off by the breeze. We're safely away from where most of the dog walkers go, but from a distance he'll just look like a little puppy anyway, as long as his fire stays in, that is. I don't know, I admit, straightening my red and navy baseball cap. I haven't been out in the rain with him yet. Ooh, what if he farts? Rue bursts out. Aren't farts flammable? You could let one rip and start a bushfire. I can't say I've ever heard him fart. Maybe his flames are immune to his own farts, Lippy suggests. The rest of the afternoon passes by in a merry-go-round of exploration and laughter. Cadno chases after bugs and bounces across spongy tufts of moss. At one point, Rue throws a stick, and Cadno gets so excited chasing it that it disintegrates into a heap of glowing embers as soon as he finally manages to catch it. He looks very confused and disappointed, his flames dancing about him. Don't worry, boy, I assure him as the fire recedes. We're in a forest. It's made of sticks. We don't encounter any trouble until later on in the day, and when we do, it comes not in the form of a dog walker or a jogger, but something else entirely. We're walking round the lake when Cadno spots it. He freezes, his attention fixed firmly on something in the distance, drifting serenely across the surface of the lake. My entire body tenses. Oh no, I utter. It's him. Who? Asks Rue. The goose, the one that attacked me. How do you know it's a he? Lippy interjects tartly. Could be a she for all you know. I don't have time to answer because Cadno is already bolting to the edge of the water, a volley of yappy barks erupting from his mouth. He's glowing like a little ball of lava. The bird, so sophisticated and peaceful when it was gliding along the water, rears up and spreads its wings, doubling in size and transforming into a feathery monster. It snaps its long neck forward, a terrifying hiss spitting from its mouth. Cadno takes one look at it and, to my surprise, whimpers and runs in the opposite direction. The goose focuses its attention on us instead, its eyes glinting dangerously. Run! We shoot after Cadno, who's hiding just inside the safety of the woods. He's trembling like a plate of jelly. I go to pull him into a cuddle, then immediately jump back when I realize how hot he is. But there's no stifling the laughter that bubbles up from my chest. Defeated by a goose, Rue roars with glee. Geese are like great-great-great-great-grandchildren of the dinosaurs, says Lippy. So he pretty much just got chased off by a modern-day T-Rex. That one's got a major attitude problem, says Rue. I'm not surprised you're scared of it. I'm not scared of it, I insist, but then I falter. Okay, well, maybe a little bit. We laugh for what feels like an age, and walk on until the light starts to fade and the forest grows dense. Hey, aren't we near the old railway? Rue says after a while. He's right. The line is used for transporting goods. What goods? Nobody knows. The track snakes through the countryside, round hills and woodlands, like a twisting silver ribbon. It's seldom used, though, which is why lots of people go for a walk along it. Guys, wait, said Rue. Do you hear that? Lippy and I stop beside him. We're surrounded by trees, and all I can hear is the sound of leaves whispering, and Cadno grunting and squeaking as he plays. Cadno, I hiss. Shh. Cadno falls silent. That's when I hear it. A sound that tiptoes round the edges of things. A rasping, hungry howl that saps the warmth from the air and turns summer into winter. The noise sends a chill up my spine. The shadows that pool under the trees seem to enlarge tenfold. What is that? Asks Lippy. It could just be somebody's dog, but I'm certain it's not. Something feels wrong. Other dogs don't sound like this. They don't sound so hollow, so soulless. There's no life behind this howl, only rage. I think we should go, I say, and start stumbling backwards in the direction we came from. Come on, Cadno, come on, boy. Wait, says Rue, staring at something in the distance through the trees. Can you see that? I squint, and sure enough, there's something coming towards us in the fading light. At first, I can't tell what it is, only that it's getting bigger and bigger as it stalks down the woodland path. But then it comes into focus, and my heart turns to ice. It's a dog. A very, very big dog. Its fur as black as a beetle's shell. But it's the eyes that make me realize this isn't just a normal dog. Two hateful red orbs, unlike anything from this world, that pierce the growing dusk. It's advancing down the path towards us, drool dripping from its mouth. It looks hungry. No, it looks murderous. We have seen this dog before. It's the hound, I stutter. That's the Grendilock. It's heading right for us, Rue exclaims. It's come for Cadno, I cry. Run! We turn and bolt down the path. Cadno leads the way, yapping as he runs. His fire has emerged, his entire body enveloped in furious flames. I glance over my shoulder and, to my horror, see that the hound is running too. Its mouth opens to reveal vicious fangs as it lets out another ravenous howl. The sound seems to drain the world of colour. We run faster, but our efforts are fruitless. The hound draws closer with each passing sound. Charlie, Rude cries to my left. We're not going to make it. He's right. The hound is built for hunting. We can't outrun it. I scan the surrounding forest as we sprint on, searching for an answer. A whistling sound shrieks in the distance, and suddenly I have an idea. It could be our only hope. Train, I gasp. Train coming, follow me. I dive to the left off the path. My friend's following me. Cadno sees we've swerved and changes direction too, forging a smoking path through the dense woodland. The hound is still giving chase. Going off-road hasn't slowed it down as much as I'd hoped. The beast simply tears through the undergrowth, slipping between the trees as easily as a phantom. It won't stop, not until it gets us. The train whistles again, and just up ahead I can see a clearing. We're so close. We burst into the open, and there they are, the train tracks. Open fields stretch ahead of us on the other side of the tracks, and to our right, roaring towards us, it's the train. It's enormous, a great metallic torpedo. Charlie, the Grendilock's coming, Lippy cries, her voice full of desperation. I turn to face the hound. It has slowed now, stalking us, its demonic gaze locked on Cadno. It crouches low to the ground, readying itself to attack, its fangs bared. We back slowly towards the tracks. I glance behind me. The train is almost upon us too, and the noise is deafening. Wait for it, I scream. When I say go, we jump across the tracks. What? Rue shouts. Are you mad? He's right, of course. What I'm suggesting is completely foolish. Everybody knows how dangerous train tracks are. If we weren't being chased by a murderous beast, I wouldn't be suggesting it at all. We've got no choice. Cadno barks in terror. The train looms, and the hound finally launches itself at us, a hulking black monster wreathed in the shadow of the woods. Go! I yell, and Cadno vaults forward. Together, we leap across the tracks, seconds before the hound's jaws snap shut on the air where we just stood. The train thunders by, cutting us off from the beast. I look down the track, searching for the end of the train, and find none. It's a never-ending line of rattling goods trucks. We stare at it, awestruck, before I come to my senses. Come on, let's go. Wait, Charlie, Lippy calls, pointing at my head. Where's your hat? I frown before I realize what she's talking about. I bring my hand to my head, and sure enough, my cap is gone. It must have come off when we were running, I say. It doesn't matter. We need to get as far away from here as possible. We don't wait a second longer. We turn and flee, ducking under a wire fence and into a sloping field. We climb up it and emerge onto a country road just as the end of the train whizzes by. The ground settles beneath our feet, but I can still feel the vibration in my bones. I check back at the tracks and the forest beyond. The nightmare that pursued us has gone. How did it find us? Rue gasps. We're back in town. The night is on its way. Stars glisten in the deep purple haze of the sky. Cadno is in my arms, his nose tucked into my chest. He's finally cooled down, but his fur still glimmers with trepidation. I think back to when Teg asked for my wee-soaked jacket to lead the Grendelock away from the castle. Hounds have an incredible sense of smell. Cadno weed hundreds of times when we were out today. Couldn't exactly stop him, could we? I bet the Grendelock tracked us from the moment we put him on the ground. What are we going to do? Asks Lippy. I look at them hopelessly. I don't know. We need Teg. But I'm telling you, something bad has happened to him. He closed the gateway after he left, but now it's open again, and the Grendelock is here. It must have caught him and stolen the seal stone. Rue places a hand on my shoulder. He'll come back. You don't know that. I've been using the pennycog every day, and there's still no sign of him. To that, neither of my friends say anything. Cadno has started to chew on my sleeve, oblivious to the conversation we're having about his fate. Come on, let's go, I say. Worry clouds my head as we make our way through the town. What if Teg never comes back for Cadno? One ray of sunshine does break through the gloom at least, and that's Lippy's words. What are we going to do? We. It's a tiny word, but an important one. It means I am not alone.